Welcome to Season 2 of Relatable Catholic. We're back with new conversations, familiar faces, and the same heart for making the Catholic faith approachable, honest, and lived out in everyday life. Whether you've been here since day one or you're just finding us, we're so glad you're here. Welcome back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Relatable Catholic. We have kind of a different episode for today, and I'm going to sort of intro it a little more just because it's more of kind of like a serious topic that we're talking about today. So there are moments in our life where trusting God feels easy, and then there are moments like now where it doesn't seem that easy. So moments where things change, things shift, and then we're asking why this and why now. So in case you are a faraway listener, this weekend was the official announcement of the parish changes and Father Andy's upcoming move. So today we are not going to ignore it. We're going to lean into it and talk about what it means to actually trust God in these moments of uncertainty, how to respond when his plans don't look like ours, and where God is in all of this. So today I'm joined with Father Andy and Corey, and we are going to have a real honest conversation about faith, change, and learning to trust God in the middle of it. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Good to be here.
Great. That was
Honestly, when I was getting this ready, that's the part that I cried. So, yeah, so we are going to be talking about that today because it's happening. So some of our parishes are joining our pastorate in Bellevue, and we're kind of moving forward with that. So the big announcement this weekend was that some of our parishes are going to not have weekend masses, but that doesn't affect St. Joe's Parish, which is hard because I'm joyful that our parish is still going to have a weekend mass. And I know that a lot of parishes aren't going to, which is really hard when that's something that you've grown up doing, a place that's home to you. And then also that Father Andy is leaving us. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. And I mean, and maybe you could look at it as Bellevue is joining Maquoketa, because it's the Maquoketa area.
Yeah, I did have somebody did say that right there. Why is it saying Maquoketa? It's I think it's just because it's the biggest population. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah. Then everybody's upset because I'm leaving too. I mean, I heard so many times in this whole thing, Father will be okay as long as they don't take you too.
Yeah,
and then they took me too. And so it's okay, everybody's upset.
Right. Yeah. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe it wouldn't be fair, if we had our weekend mass and we had our Father Andy and I think I thought that I was prepared for it because I feel like you've been
telling you without telling you.
Yes. So I was ready for it. I was okay, this is going to happen. This is probably going to happen. But yeah, then
I was shocked.
I was not okay with it.
I thought you were for sure staying.
Really?
Yeah.
I really read that one wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was shocked and I was sad and hit all the emotions.
Yeah. So it was kind of a tough weekend.
It was
you could
tough.
say.
It's been a tough few weeks. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And that it's been a tough weekend for us. And that is part of your struggle too. You can talk about that a little bit. You talked a little bit about it in your Can You Relate? About
oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, I started to realize towards the end of the week because I was really struggling last week. Part of it too was just not knowing who was going to come here. All I knew was where I was going and who was going to be there with me.
Okay.
I didn't know who was coming here, and there's so many things I did not know. All I knew was those two little pieces of information that. It's
that's tough.
Yeah, that's really hard.
And
I know there's a reason that they did that, but
yeah. And so what I was okay, so who's going to take over here, and are people going to be okay? And I think that's because you do pretty quickly because as I reminded people at the Sunday Mass, I didn't really want to move to Bellevue either.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
Right?
I remember. Yeah.
So I didn't want to move to Bellevue. I ended up here, and it was great, and I really loved it, and became attached. And then I'm like, and now like you got to go again. It's like, oh man, like this is like okay.
And only 2 years. That part just really,
Yeah.
like you're just getting into like getting some really great things started with.
Yeah.
I mean, I can name off a bunch of things, but in particular, the men's Thursday night that's just taken off and getting the men in the parish to start taking accountability and being involved. And like, I think the ceiling was really, really high for that. And I don't know where that leaves that from here on out. That was a Father Andy thing, not a whatever the new priests are thing.
It takes time to understand what a place needs, and that was really what I felt like that we could use here, and introduced it in January because I was like, well, really no sense in waiting. At that point, I had no idea,
Right.
you know, and I actually found out on my ski trip, so it would have been like March 12th, I think, was when I found out, and yeah. So I didn't know, but I was like, I'm going to start this. Now, if you're doing the pastor thing right, you do things in a way that it can be taken over without you. It can continue on without you. The men's group can be taken over without me, you know, and without the priest too. I think that more importantly, like the priests don't have to be involved.
Sure.
So would it be best if they were? Probably. But like, could Deacon Loris take it over? Absolutely. He could, you know. Could a group of lay guys take it over? Absolutely. They could. So like that's, you know, you really don't want to put yourself in like, this will only continue if I am the one that's continuing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Just a shock. I think our parish has been through quite a few priests, it feels like, in a short amount of time.
Yes, I have been teaching at Marquette for 15 years, and we've had 6 priests
That seems like a lot.
since I've been teaching.
In 15 years.
In 15 years, which is a lot. And the hard thing too is like every priest has their own way of doing things. You know, like, which I mean makes sense.
Different styles.
Different styles, like different, you know, ways they want to do
Personalities.
things, especially with like sacramental prep. Like there's a lot of like different things, and I really felt like okay, like it's sort of like I also at some point is like, is it me? Because when I started teaching, we had 4 different principals as well.
We're sure tired of that second grade teacher in her first community classes.
But like, you know, then Mr. Kaiser came and it was like, okay, like we found it, like we're settled, we're good. And then it kind of felt like when you came, it was like, okay, like we're good, like we're settled, like
Felt complete.
it felt, like, okay, this is right. This is what was meant to be. This is like our school is thriving, our church is thriving. So it was really just, it's
Stability.
hard. Yeah. And you know, I don't like change. So
No, I don't think many people like change. I don't know. I don't like change.
yeah.
I know my dad and I were talking. We were a little bit nervous. Maybe we like talked you up too much. Like maybe the archdiocese heard like, oh, Father Andy's really good because we were all saying good things about you. So looking back on it, we wish we would have
should've.
been
He
like
sucks. Leave
kind of
him.
crapping on you a little bit. And, well, we really don't like that Father Andy. Maybe they would
You
have left
better
you
leave him
here.
here. We're getting pretty close to teaching him what to do.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I didn't think this would happen. Honestly, I did not. Driving out to Colorado before the other priest was in the car, because the other priest was the one that told me knew the assignment, told me the assignment. I said 55% chance I stay here in Bellevue, 45% chance I go somewhere else as an associate. Well, the 0% chance thing came to fruition, right? Like I did not see that coming at all. So we just don't know. You know, we're not in charge of it. And I did tell people, don't say anything about me. Say, we want stability. We want stability, you know, and
Right.
and I think that is probably the biggest thing is they do want somebody good to go to this particular assignment, the Archbishop.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your assignment? that you? Is that okay to talk about?
Yeah. So I'm going to Clear Lake, Iowa, Britt, Garner, Forest City. Those are the 4 places with masses, and then Lake Mills, Buffalo Center, and Duncan.
You say Clear Lake, I think clearly far away.
It couldn't be any farther from here in the Archdiocese, right?
Correct. 202 miles away from Bellevue.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
And Buffalo Center is 250 miles away. So it's like up on the Minnesota border. It's like the exact opposite corner of this diocese.
Smaller parishes overall? Smaller cluster?
Yeah. I mean, like right now, I feel, I usually say about 3,200 people total that I'm responsible for in this current assignment, and over there it'll be 3,400 with the combined assignment. So getting assigned with one of my good friends, so that's good.
I was going to ask, do you know the priest that you're being assigned with?
Yeah, Father Nick Radloff.
Okay.
He was a later vocation like myself.
Yep.
He was a navigator on MC-130s in the Air Force.
Wow.
So,
got some good stories to tell then.
Good stories. Good stories. He moved to seminary when I was getting close to being done, but we overlapped 2 years and got to be good friends, lived on the same floor. We would travel together, go to Cardinals games, Notre Dame games. He was this good guy that we're friends. We haven't hung out so much recently, but only because of our distance. He was up in this.
You're about to.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy about that. At least I got a friend. And I think that's been one of the hard things with my priesthood or even the time in seminary. It feels like I have a friend for a while. During seminary, I was like this. The guy that I was closest to my first years at Loris, he left at the end of those 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I was close with another guy for those next 2 years. He leaves at the end of that. So it's like just this constant kind of like people coming in and out. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. Maybe, and I've kind of learned that, you really have to focus on your relationship with Jesus Christ because everybody else is going to come and go. Mm-hmm. It's just the reality, like Father Nick Radloff, he has been a pastor for 6 years, ever since he got ordained. Like days after he got ordained, he was made pastor, which is unusual, but he's very talented, very capable himself. So someone gets sick, he could be out immediately too. You never know. You just never know. So it's just don't you can't ever, especially in this job, really.
So in this assignment, you are the pastor.
Correct.
And then
Father Radloff is the vicar.
Vicar, yeah.
The vicar.
Yeah.
And vicar is just the new name for associate pastor.
Is the fancy name that starts with a V.
I had to do some asking about that. I wasn't sure what that meant.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So Clear Lake. Lake Mills. We played them in basketball out at state once, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Clear Lake on the Iowa Preps, they've been having some troubles with their boys basketball. I think the head coach is on the hot seat.
I actually just saw a post on Hawkeye Heaven today.
So you might be walking into some basketball chaos.
Drama.
Huh? Little basketball drama.
We'll see at the state tournament.
or maybe not at all.
Yeah.
They might go 0-20 and fire their coach. Sorry if you're listening from Clear Lake.
We're a basketball town if you're listening.
We do love our basketball.
I remember I actually went early the year before. I watched Clear Lake play because they were at state at the same time we were 2 years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I played right before us. But
have you been to Clear Lake before ever or that area?
Because the guy right now is Father Josh Link. And so he's a friend of mine. So I went up there a couple of times to visit him.
Angie Link's son.
Yes, that is my wonderful counselor. It's her son.
I've heard nothing but great things about both of them.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. So it's
and he's heading to Cedar Falls, if I saw it right.
Correct.
Yes. what's been the mood lately? Have you been, I'm sure that day you got a bunch of messages like, don't leave.
Negative messages.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, has there been pushback?
Boy, I'm glad you're going. Or
everybody's been like, do you have to go? Like,
right. Yeah.
It's like, really, like,
is there anything we can do?
Is there anything we can do?
Yeah.
Can we start our own church?
Yeah.
Roscoe is building one. St. Patrick's on the pond.
Chapel. Yeah. Ultimately, there's been lots of talks about the parishes having rights. Mm-hmm. Well, pastors have rights too.
Right.
Sure.
And, I could say no, and I could have said no at Nativity.
Yeah.
But at some level you just go, maybe God's way is better than mine.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe I should just do what God is asking me to do and not try to think it's always my way or the highway. Mm-hmm. So just probably really trusting in that. Probably
hard to do though when you have a lot of parishioners reaching out to you and saying, "Man, we love you. Don't leave us." Mm-hmm. And that would be tough. That's something I'm struggling with, is just to accept it and say, yeah, this is God's will, and He knows better than I do, obviously. So I gotta live with this and make the best out of it.
Yeah. Because I appreciate it on one hand,
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand,
it probably makes it a little harder on the other hand.
Like really, like I on Saturday, I got this new watch that
blew up all day Saturday.
It tracks my heart rate.
Oh boy!
And my heart rate, like it once it gets over 100, it says abnormal heart rate, and it was like that almost all day.
Yeah.
And so I was at a wedding reception, and I was like, I can't do this. Like I'm just having simple conversations, and I was like, I can't function right now. Like something's wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And so I had to leave. Yeah. It's very
hard.
challenging.
It's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm. For everybody, right? Not just as parishioners, even though I knew it was coming, like it's still like not easy to deal with.
No.
And
So what, because I think like this is an opportunity for us to like grow in trust. How do we make sure that we keep people coming to church? Like that's what I think a lot of people's worries are, is that, and I know you talked about this a little bit in Sunday in the homily, which I'll link the homily, about that it's not about you, it's not about the church building, it's about Jesus. It's about the Eucharist. It's about
that's the relationship that's important, and receiving the Eucharist and continuing on in that is the most important.
Pray for vibrant priests.
Yeah.
Well, and that was one thing that I, tried to get going here, and I think it's kind of going here, Bellevue. Other places maybe not so much, but trying to add that prayer for priests during the Rosary.
Yes.
God our Father, please send us holy priests.
All for the sacred and Eucharistic heart of Jesus. Yes, my mom says it wrong almost every time, and I hand her the paper.
I did a litany for priests on Hallow, 2 different versions every day, and it didn't help in this situation, but I'm sure it
helps somewhere else.
I'm sure it's helping somewhere else, or maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I struggle with just in life too. Like, I'm always trying to find the purpose of things. Like, there has to be a reason here. Like, there has to be some sort of purpose for this. And like, just in everyday things, like, why am I feeling this? Like, well, there has to be a reason why I'm struggling with this, or there has to be the reason why this person isn't in my life anymore,
Right.
And I think that that's something that I'm trying to like reflect on too, is to try and not force the reason, like, I do feel sort of like not a pressure, but like to use like a call to use the podcast more of like a bridge to, because I know a lot of people in our parish listen, of trusting that this is what it's supposed to be, and we just like have to go with it, but also how I can be like a beacon of hope in like the transition, and how we can use this for good, and help people understand a little more about like why this needs to happen, what's going to happen, and even, maybe somehow making people excited about it. And yeah,
it's an opportunity for growth for us personally. When there's things we don't go through, but our faith is tested, that's when we grow the most, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. There's the opportunity. I mean, I think this technically should be an easier assignment for me, having a good, priest friend with me, having almost the same number of parishioners there as I have here. We should really have to do less work in theory. Mm-hmm. And not that I'm lazy. And the guy that, Father Radloff, he's a super hard worker. But I asked him the other day, I'm like, how many days of recollection have you taken, in your priesthood in your 6 years? It's like, none. And in my years, we're supposed to take a day of recollection once a month.
Was just like
just get away and
little retreat day. Yep. Little retreat day.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy. Just go and be with the Lord. And he's taken 0, and I've taken probably 1.5 in 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so we haven't done that because the priest life is so busy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we have to make a schedule that will allow either one of us to take one every month.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And not have this kind of thing where we're just, so hopefully we can grow in holiness. Mm-hmm. Someone said to me recently, like what helped them to grow the most in their faith was seeing priests as friends, like hanging out and like having this fraternity amongst them. Nick and I definitely have that. Mm-hmm. So if that's inspiring to one person, hopefully it's inspiring to lots of people up there. People will see that. I imagine these guys here will have a similar relationship and be fraternal with each other, and you guys can see that and go, oh, that's cool. Like they're
yeah. And on a much smaller scale, when teaching at Marquette, there's only one second grade teacher, so it's like there's no one to really talk about second grade things and
right.
what we could do, different, or what's working for you, So I think it's the same thing with priests right now. It's like, well, you're on this island by yourself, and that I think hopefully will also take some of that burden of I'm doing this all on my own. I don't know what to do.
Jesus sent the disciples out 2 by 2, right?
Yeah.
And so having another person to really walk with on it should be very helpful. It should be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm going to maintain that hope. And there's also, when I was in Dubuque, there's how many parishes there?
Sure.
10 parishes. I mean, it was crazy how many parishes there. And as I was at Res, and then I move around and I meet people from Wallert, I would work to have socials where the parents that I liked the most, I get them together.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then they became friends.
Yep.
And that was kind of what I was even hoping a little bit with this whole men's thing too, is the guys that really want to live their faith can support each other. We need good Catholics to support each other. So, that's one way that this can work too, is those families from the other parishes that are really trying to live it, and just holy people, right? In any walk of life, right? It doesn't matter. But
right.
But to support each other, to live it, this broadens the circle, right?
Yeah.
We tend to have a very, very small circles if we don't ever have any reason to get pushed out of it. Well, this is pushing us out of it, and so now, who's those people from Macoka that are really trying to live it, and Preston and Springbrook and St. Denis and Otter Creek and Oxford.
Oxford
Did
Junction.
they ever come over?
I was like, I didn't even know Oxford.
That one really threw me for a loop. I thought it was going to be Gary Owen,
Oh.
but it was Oxford Junction.
Yeah.
One out of the county on one of us.
Yeah. I see. I was going to say it should be the St. Andrew pastorate, because Andrew is just such a good name.
Oh, yes.
But Andrew Jackson, actually, but then you throw him outside of the county, and it's like no longer
don't work no more.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I think that's an opportunity there too, right? And so I hope that there, I know people are upset,
Yeah.
in these parishes without Sunday Mass.
Sure.
I hope it doesn't lead them to leaving the church completely, that they can get involved and they can start to meet people here and there and everywhere, and that it makes it a better Jackson County +1 kind of
+1. Saint +1. Who's the patron saint of +1?
I don't know. Yeah. There's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Sure.
And even though it might not feel like that right now, like it could be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, maybe the sacristan at one of those churches wants to be the sacristan at St. Joe's or at Sacred Heart. And will the people at Makokata or Bellevue let them do that? They'd be willing to,
We'll have to
be
be
involved
welcoming
in
and
those ways. And, so yeah, to welcome, but to understand it's a new parish. It's not, we can't just say, oh, so this is my church. Welcome to my church. No, it's like welcome to your church. Like this is your church and
very well said.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this, because it doesn't take effect until July. So I think this is a good time to really well, I think right now we're all just coming to terms with it.
Right.
Just
that's what I was going to
trying to
talk about a little bit about grief. I think we're all experiencing a little bit of grief, or a lot of bit of grief right now. And that was going to get me into, I did some study this week on Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who we read her book, Death and Dying, and at Marquette and at Loras. So I was shocked to find out she's a Protestant Calvinist. She wrote the book in 1969, and she's the one that developed the DABDA, Denial, Anger, Bargaining, Depression, Acceptance moniker. I don't know if that's the right word for that.
Yeah.
Anagram, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
How you remember stuff.
An acrostic poem.
So one of the things I learned about this is it wasn't meant to be linear. And she wrote this for dying people, the stages they go through on the way to death, the denial, anger, depression, bargaining, acceptance. And she said you can get all the way to acceptance and all of a sudden find yourself back at anger. And myself right now, and I don't have to go through them linear, but I sure seem like I am right now. I'm kind of done with the denial. The anger, it's still there. The bargaining, I've worked on that already. That didn't get me anywhere. So I think I'm starting kind of into the depression and anger stages yet.
Yeah.
But I guess our ultimate goal is to get to the acceptance stage. And I think that's something we need to pray on. Now, I'm not saying Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is the greatest person in the world. She also got into the occult towards the end of her career. So, but she was a tremendously talented Swedish-born psychiatrist that did a lot of good things with grief and death and dying, and so I just think that's something for people to think about. That we'll have a range of emotions, and we're going to go through them all, and we might think we're to acceptance or getting real close, and then we might have a roadblock or a stumble. But if we keep praying, keep our eyes on God. This world's not for us. We got to remember that our world is up there.
Amen.
So just keep working towards acceptance, and as hard as it is, it's not meant for this world. It's meant for God's glory.
And anything that we're attached to in this world can be a roadblock to our salvation. And I'm not just talking about our churches. I'm talking about, well, even like me with, having friends that I felt like I was really walking with in seminary and even the priesthood, and then they leave or turn on me or whatever. I mean, just
sure,
it's been crazy. I mean, and so you always kind of looking ahead to that and hoping for that. But whether it like
Yeah.
will actually
Right.
materialize. But like Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus. Like
And
that's what we're trying to like.
I was kind of thinking about that too because the priests generally leave a parish. Is it like 7 years?
8.
6
Six.
years.
Six. Yeah, I did think that too. I was like, well, he's going to leave in 4 years anyway.
I thought you had 2 4-year terms like Congress.
I was like, I guess like this is me like trying to find purpose. Like and like imagine if he's here for 4 more years, like then we really would be like.
And if you leave now, you can get
right.
back sooner.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, do they put priests back?
We've had a couple priests that were here a couple times.
But I think like
You never know.
I think because you are so beloved and it's only been 2 years, like it almost becomes like an idol situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're the face of the church. Like we go to church to see you because we love you and we are growing in our it's good that we're growing in our faith, but like we're doing it because of you. Like it's almost like we might start to do things for the wrong reason because we want to do it
cult
for
of personality.
You. Yeah.
And that's
I want Father Andy to see me in church.
Right. And I think that's where I think we're being called to grow is like why are we doing this? Like are we going to church because Father Andy wants to see us? Are we, like attending holy hour because we might have a party afterwards,
Sure.
more. And I'm sure that's what the archdiocese like plan is like, because we don't want our priests to become like the face of our faith.
Right. And that is why we move. That's why we get moved to other places and it could be seen as negative, but I see that as positive. Like, like it allows me not to become a cult of personality for you and always try to put myself in the second place of Jesus. Like I was trying to describe it at Mass on Sunday, like it's not my relationship with you, it's your relationship with Jesus. I'm just trying to like introduce you and have you go deeper in that relationship and then attach to him, not to me, and that's, if we're there, thanks be to God. Right. That's what you want your priest to, he brings Jesus Christ. That's his superpower, So you attach to me, but it's the wrong reason. You have to like go, okay, past me. He's a cool guy. He's bringing me Jesus. Jesus is what I really want.
Yeah.
Go.
Right. But that also doesn't take away that like the priests do become part of like a family,
Absolutely.
like
you call me father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So that's
like
I think that's a hard
Father
part of
Nimmers
it.
and Monsignor Ralph used to come to all of our
we
family
always
gatherings.
had priests at family gatherings.
And they just kind of felt like part of the family. And
right.
They seemed to be at their parish a lot longer, though. They were there.
Yeah.
They were at St. Teresa's quite a long time.
Yeah.
And St. Teresa's went through this probably more than 20 years ago now, and then Lamont went through it. So our families went through it. Not us, but our moms have went through it several times.
Yeah, a lot of my relatives have in Cloutier. Cloutier is a town that is probably St. Ignatius size. Okay, just
small.
And it had a church in the city and outside, like maybe 2 miles away.
Oh wow!
And they both closed in the 90s. And then one to the south of that, Vining closed. So very similar, like kind of dynamics in Tama County versus like Jackson County. Like lots of little churches, a lot of them got closed, and just that watching that happen is terrible. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
And the ideal is like that. Like I get assigned to St. Ignatius, and I can stay there for 12 years. You know what I mean? Like, and really become a father and really like help people grow in their faith. But that's not the reality anymore as far as them are priests, or it totally becomes a numbers game.
Yeah.
And
you don't have the big family farms that had 8-10 kids that are all coming to mass. And I mean,
speaking from experience,
a lot of demographics have changed over the last 20-30 years.
Corey, do the math on that.
Yeah.
So you have an 8 to 10 person family, on
farming
160 acres.
Yeah.
And so that's, and you have 4 of them on a square mile.
Yeah.
That's what, 40, 50 people.
And now
And then
got
you have 4 square miles. So you have like 200 people right there in 4 square miles. Now you have
one farmer
one farmer for 4 square miles.
with 2 kids. You're not wrong.
Hello.
Who don't
Yeah.
feel like going to mass because the game's on.
Well, and or they haven't even time. You
Right.
know, like the farming.
And they don't have the
operators.
community that they would have had if it was
Yeah.
smaller farms with a bunch of people with kids, and like there's not that community and there's so much. Another thing, I think there's so much. I've been guilty of this in my life too. The sports and the AAU and the travel this and travel that. I think we're so involved in our kids' lives that we put a lot of that first instead of putting maybe some of the stuff that should be first. I think that's hurt a lot of things.
And so if this is a wake up call to go, man, this is important, you know, and okay, like let's start to reprioritize our lives. And it's not overnight, but gradually we grow, you know, all these things are opportunities to grow.
Yeah.
We got to do it.
And a lot of priests come from good, holy families, you know? So if you really want to like help with the priest shortage, you know, like
have more kids,
get
get
more
one of them in
kids
seminary.
get to mass.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where it starts is in our families too, I think.
You know, when this whole thing got announced, people had that, like going back to your whole stages of grief thing, they already felt that, you know? And then there was lots of the bargaining and lots of like denial.
Yeah.
And then now like when it hits and it's like, I thought I bargained for that. I thought I had it, you know? But like, I think everybody's like, what can we do? What can we do? Back then, what I said was grow in your faith.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you could have done then. That's the only thing you can do right now. Because the only thing, like if your church doesn't have a mass right now, the only thing that can, or is not going to have one come July 14th, like the only thing you can really do is grow your faith, grow your neighbor's faith, and then have a good enough argument to say we should really have a mass in this spot because there's so many people here that are traveling to XYZ. It just doesn't make sense.
Our masses are so full. We're out of room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
how we
like,
do it, people.
Like seriously, like the Bellevue Mass this last weekend, second Sunday, it was great. Like it felt really full. The weekend before Easter, 584. I don't think I've ever seen an Easter that mass that big. Like if it's that full, if it's at like negative numbers for like capacity every Sunday, they have no choice but to like.
And our
do
numbers
something
are
different.
sad, honestly, because when the archdiocese released all of the new pastorates, it had like number of parishioners,
Number of active
parishioners, and ours was really bad. It was like 6,000 parishioners and like 1,000.
Really?
It was. I'll get up.
That,
Well, yeah, I don't know the exact number, but your parishes are going to excellent.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't take time to go through all those.
Oh, see, and I was with the Martins that morning, and Buddy thought that it would be a good idea to look at every single pastorate before ours, because he must really like that kind of stuff.
Suspense.
I'm the person who reads the end of a book to see what's going to happen, so I don't have to worry about it the whole book.
Hilarious.
And we got through 3 of them, and I was like, I'm sorry, buddy. I have to look. I won't tell you what it says. But, yeah, so our total parishioners is 6,066. Ooh, that's kind of a scary number. There's a 0 in there. And then our mass attendance is 1,485.
It was in the 1,000 as well.
Really bad. Area for growth,
Right.
growth.
Right.
And that's all of that's like Macokota, Oxford Junction, that's all. It's not just Bellevue. I think
Bellevue had been growing.
Yeah, it has been.
Because I think our numbers 10 years ago would have looked
what's yours?
worse.
Clear Lake area. So your total parishioners is 419. 3,419. And then your mass attendance is 1,165. So,
So
A little less.
that's about 33%.
oh, I'm not a math person. So I was like, 3,000, 1,000 going. You're doing good.
Less sheep to get in the fence.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know what it's been like up there necessarily, but yeah, there's people that are not coming to mass. And why is that? Right. And so the only way to, in my mind, is to for you to yourself to grow in holiness to a point, or knowledge, whatever you want to call it, grow in a way that can allow you to comfortably ask them to come to mass and to be able to respond, what if they say no for this reason or whatever, or I would if this, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah.
And it's all our jobs to evangelize and to bring people into the fold and
Right.
do our best.
Because ultimately, like I can't do that much, coming in to a place and learning. I try to learn as fast as possible, but the people aren't there. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They have their own culture and their own people that think, or people that are leading this and leading that.
Yeah.
And it would take a lot of sitting back and probably watching more than anything to try to figure out how's this been going here.
Yeah.
For sure.
And do you get to talk to the priest that was there before you just get kind of like a heads up on, here's some people that can really help you, that are leaders in the church? And I mean, obviously your parish council, is there a school there?
Mason City Newman is in a different pastorate, but that's the only one that
that's the only Catholic school there.
Yeah. Any association with, and it's kind of a small association, I think. So
okay. So you won't have really a school board that you can lean into, but you'll have a parish council you can lean into, or several parish councils. Oh, that's a good question. Are the parish councils going to cluster together now, or is it going to still be? Yeah,
there's going to be like a new pastorate council.
Pastorate council, okay.
Yeah,
so the Macocan Area Pastorate Council.
Correct.
St. Andrews +1.
I think. I mean,
that don't sound bad.
That sounds great. St. Andrew +1. We could still do St. Andrew. Father Cruzy got a building named after him. We might as well name our pastorate after him.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, there's 2 St. Joseph's. There's 2 Sacred Hearts.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. On a serious note, I would probably lean towards a Marian title for. Okay. But
that's a beautiful name too. Catherine Mary.
There you go.
So I really feel like this is a time. Like I think, however you're feeling right now is acceptable. Like maybe you're excited. Like I'm maybe some people I think are excited to have
there's probably people that like change.
Yeah, people who like change.
Like the 4 people that don't like me.
Yeah,
really
maybe that too.
Yeah, I've heard him talking about it. No, I'm just kidding.
But and then I think it's okay however we're feeling right now, and then like there will come a time in July when we have to just figure out like what we're gonna do. Like how can we make this better? How can we grow our parish? Like how can we turn this what feels like sort of like not a blessing, a death? Like how can we make this a blessing?
Yeah.
And how can we use this to grow our faith community?
Yeah.
So
I think we have a good framework in place.
Yeah.
I mean, you've laid a lot of good foundations here that for a lot of different things that can just keep on growing off that, and introduce some, like you said, some men and probably some women as well, but in particular on the men's Thursday night that wouldn't have necessarily got to be buddies or talk to each other, that all of a sudden connected and are like, oh, I didn't know you were that serious with your faith, or that you thought like that. Or so I think we have some great things going and growing. We just got to build on that and get to the point where we can accept.
Yeah. Actually, I was working on a big. I was helping get a big women's Bible study going too. I mean, like I said, and then it's started. I mean, it's like it's not started, but it's in the works. Yeah. So things will continue without me. And that's the thing that like you just have to be confident of that, and I'm confident of that, and
And Jesus always asks us to persevere.
Yeah.
Like keep asking, keep persevering. And I think that's our job right now, no matter how we're feeling too, is just like keep going. Like even if you don't want to, like go to mass, like keep going, keep praying, keep doing what you are doing. And I'm really hopeful that in all of that we'll find our purpose. And
if our faith was easy, there wouldn't be any growth. There wouldn't be any
Sure.
there's when everything is happy. I think I said this recently at Easter. It's no benefit to us.
Yeah.
Like we go through hard times and our faith is tested, and that's, we don't like it, but like,
Right.
Yeah.
but how we come out of it is actually more, important.
Yeah. So I'm going to nix the can you relate. This does not seem like, unless somebody really felt passionate about it.
No.
Because it's 5:00. So
Okay.
I don't have a.
I have an outro too.
Okay. All right.
My can you relate is I can't find her. I'll be back.
Oh, wow.
It's here somewhere.
Mine was going to be about getting names wrong, and because I always call people that, and I didn't ever understand when I was young, like how mom always called me Ryan. Like Ryan's 6'4", blonde, and blue-eyed,
Yeah.
and I'm 5'11", brown hair, brown eyes. And then I was going to lead into good luck learning all these new names. So I was going to kind of give you some shit.
3,400 new names.
Well, only like 1,100 that are going, though. So you learn those first.
A little break.
Get those and then start working on the other ones.
Yeah. I wrote an outro. I didn't write an outro. ChatGPT and I wrote an outro together.
Nice.
So I'll just say that and then I'll be done.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I think what I'm taking away from this is that trusting God is not always peaceful. And sometimes it feels like letting go of something you really love. And that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
So, but
That's why we're talking about the grief. I mean,
Right.
that's like,
Yep.
yeah. But if there's one thing that I think we can hold on to is that God is not surprised by this.
True.
And he's not distant from it either. So he's right here in the middle of it with us. So wherever you're at, whether you're strong in your faith right now or you're really struggling, like you're not alone. So I think let's just keep showing up. Let's keep praying, and then let's keep trusting, because that's all we have. So even when it's hard, so we're in this together.
Yep. Be there for each other.
Yeah.
well, not really in this together. I'm leaving, but
Right.
just kidding.
Well, I'll still text you. I'll still send you my
Way to
Hollow
ruin
daily
my
trivia results.
awesome outro.
That was pretty good. Oh.
So the funeral episode is over. I felt like this.
Should we sing on Eagle's Wings?
Raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hands. The snare.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, your journeys, your feelings, your whatever. Thanks for listening to our feelings.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Not leaving yet, so we got time left, and
exactly.
We'll make the most of it.
that's right.
Yeah, we gotta start a bucket list. We gotta get to Manny's.
Gotta get to Manny's for tacos.
Will you be
right.
closer to Tasty Tacos?
I guess it'll only be like 2 hours to Des Moines. So yeah, I guess I would be closer to Tasty Tacos.
There you go. One thing to look for.
Not quite Uber Eats close enough, but
And you might get a couple more snow days out close to Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
They're
so-
always getting more snow than us.
Yeah.
So.
So. All right. Well, thanks for listening. And as always, we are praying for you.
May God bless you all.
goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.